Ellen March with Sulky of America, and we are coming to you live here in my home studio to talk about, well, social distancing. If you're anything like me, you are at your house, maybe working from home, maybe educating some kids, and I'm doing both. So here we are broadcasting live. I actually have one of my children just came to the door, so bear with me on today's live feed because I may have some children running in and out. They're supposed to be doing schoolwork, but you know. So I am. Here she comes. Oh, drop me a line in the comments and say hello and let me know what you are doing today. Hopefully you're sewing, or hopefully you are diving into your stash and getting some fabric to sew with. It's looking like I'm having a little bit of delay with the feed, so please comment and let me know if you are seeing that delay, because if you are, I might have to stop the feed and start it a different way. So bear with me on all fronts, okay? Today is St. Patrick's Day. Happy St. Patrick's Day. I hope you're wearing your green. I at least got my green on today. My children actually have green on as well, so we got that far. But, you know, we're struggling out there just like all of you are with, you know, what's going on in the world. And I can't think of a better time than to find peace and solitude in your sewing room. So that's what I'm doing. I actually have some stations set up for my kids today as well, because they also have some unfinished projects that they've been working on for a while. And, you know, we hardly ever have time to dive into sewing with the kids. So this gives us the opportunity in and around all the homeschooling that we're supposed to be doing. We'll be doing some sewing. So I'm going to go over some things that I have in the works, and I have a little bit different setup today because I wanted to do some actual sewing. So I've got an additional camera that you can see, hopefully, here at my sewing table. So it's a little dark, but you might be able to see what I'm working on a little bit better. So I am just going to hop on over and make sure that the feed is happening correctly. Okay, and try to troubleshoot any issues at the same time. So everyone, we're in this together, right? Let's enjoy each other's company for a little while. So we're doing a social distancing sew-in a little bit this afternoon. And I'm going to go over one of my girls' sewing projects that they have been working on. And be careful, please. Please don't move this camera. No, you can't come back here. There's no room. You should see my sewing room right now, you guys. I've got 3 sewing machines set up. I have another one in the corner, so 4 total. I have 2 cameras set up. I have lighting, and I mean, I'm in the size of a closet here, so it's a miracle. So if you want to come around, honey, you have to come around the way that you just were, because there's no room right here. Okay. All right. So what I want to show you first is my girls and I went into my stash and we found a kit to make a doll. And it's from 2007. They don't make it anymore, unfortunately. But I think it's easy enough to where you can kind of take a look at it and model a doll off of probably a doll you already have, or a stuffy or something like that, and make something with your kids. Or your grandkids, or your neighbor kids, whoever is well, whoever you know can benefit from your tutorial. Maybe you can even do something via FaceTime or Skype with them and get them involved. So here is our little doll, and this is how she's pretty dark, but this is how far we've gotten on this project. All right. So we have her hair on. She had a little sort of like an embroidery transfer for the face. And so we've got that on. She also has her base clothing, which is a shirt and a pair of pants and these cute little shoes that slip on and off. Okay, so now she's ready for actual sewing. And I gotta say, like, sewing the hair on, which really it's just a big yarn loop that you cut through. You can have a longer yarn loop if you want longer hair on your doll. But sewing this onto the head, we just needed a very large needle. And this came with a little bit of a sewing kit. It came with some Amy Butler fabric from 2007. So it's really cute. And my girls were really into it. Right, Emma? Mm-hmm. Really into it. All right, I'm going to switch to this camera for a minute. So Emma can show you. So, Emma, do you want to show everyone what the pattern look like? Yeah. All right. This is the pants pattern that came with the doll. Super simple. And it came with fabric for the pants. And then this is the little top pattern. And to get a little closer up so they can see. It's seen better days, but this is the top pattern. Really easy, 2 side seams, 2 little shoulder seams, and it's really great for starting sewing. Now, my girls are only 5, so when they're at the sewing machine, I'm with them. I got to cover the presser foot. They put their hands on top of my hand. They get the idea of how a sewing machine works. They really love to play with beautiful thread. Particularly love to pick it up in school, so we're working on that. But these are great projects to even start with hand sewing, so they get the idea of how two fabrics go together. You know, right side spacing to hide seams, where seam allowances are. These are. Am I keeping you awake? Let's hope you all are yawning up there as well, right, Emma? All right. So maybe it's nap time, you guys. Woo! All right. At any rate, good fundamental skills about sewing to teach, you know, if you have some time off, are just that, you know, right side spacing, why we do that? What is a seam allowance? Why do we need that? How does the sewing machine work? How are stitches formed? You know, these are lessons that they will take through the rest of their life. It's really the foundation of sewing. So we start there, and then make a little dress, make a little doll outfit, something like that to be proud of. It really is gratification sewing, because you can immediately put it on your little doll and construct her stuff, right, Emma? Yeah. So that's what we're going to be working on, is actually finishing the outfit for our little doll. And here she is again. I'll try to get her a little closer so you could see. It's kind of dark though. So that's our little doll. We're going to finish that up when we have another pocket of free time from all the schoolwork, right? Can you tell everybody that you're doing so much schoolwork today on day 1 of homeschooling / working from home? Okay. Did I mention I work for one of the best companies on the planet, Sulky of America? Very understanding in these trying times, and you know, when somebody works hard for you, you're going to work hard for them too, and they're really just the greatest. So I'm going to get into some machine embroidery, because that is what I am working on right now. I've got to get some samples done for some upcoming content to share with you guys, and I'm actually testing out an embroidery design. So for all of you who maybe haven't tried machine embroidery, or you just want a little refresher, you know, testing out new designs is another thing that you can do when you have time on your hands. Which it's so weird to say those words, because I never have time on my hands. But, you know, being at home, not going out, test some embroidery designs, create some test stitch outs that you can then go and turn into other projects. It's a really fun, you know, interesting time we have here. So what I am doing is I am doing test stitch out on some really great canvas type fabric. It's like a lighter weight canvas. And I'm not going to give you the whole sneak peek on what this is going to be used for, but let's just say it needs to be a little more durable than traditional quilting cotton. It's going to be something that we take outside. And so I just wanted a little bit thicker fabric. So since I'm using a little bit thicker fabric, I am going to be using Sulky Tear Easy for the embroidery. Now I could use like Cutaway Plus if I wanted it to stay with the fabric after embroidery, which would stabilize it over a longer period of time. It would actually stabilize it over the life of the project. But I want to be able to tear this away completely when the embroidery is finished so that my wrong side has no trace of stabilizer. But since I'm using a little bit heavier weight fabric, I'm going to use 2 layers. 2 layers are easy. And basically, I get it on the bolt. So I took the bolt and I was folding it in half. And there I have my 2 layers of Tear Easy. So what I'm going to do is I'm only hooping the stabilizer. I'm actually going to stick my fabric onto the stabilizer after it's already in the hoop because I've cut it sort of to size. Now I'm going to be cutting out a pattern piece from this. And I didn't cut out the pattern piece entirely because if I need to recut it, recenter or reposition my design, I can do after embroidery. So I'm giving myself a little bit of leeway by cutting way beyond the seam allowance of my pattern. But still, it's in an odd shape. So it's not going to fit entirely in my hoop. So what I'm going to do is hoop only the stabilizer. Are you ready, Emma? All right. So we've got our lower hoop ring. Okay. I'm actually going to move this to just one camera so that I can see a little bit better about what I'm showing you. So I've got my bottom hoop ring and I have that on a flat work surface. Then I have my 2 layers of my tearaway stabilizer and I'm going to hoop that by just pressing my inner hoop ring in place. And then what I like to do is I will tighten my hoop screw, not so tight that it causes puckering, but just tight enough to secure it. And then what I like to do is push my inner hoop ring ever so slightly beyond the outer ring. Not so much that it's going to go through all the way, of course, and not so much that it's going to interfere with the feed dogs, just ever so slightly to give it that much more tightness in the hoop. So now you might be wondering, how am I possibly going to get my fabric into the hoop now? Well, we are going to use the KK2000. KK2000 is a temporary spray adhesive, and it's actually air soluble. So it's going to dissipate after a little bit of time. And I'm so sorry, it's really dark on my second camera. I apologize. Hopefully you can see that well. So I'm going to spray my stabilizer with the KK2000. Then I'm going to take my fabric, and I know that I want my design to be in this general area. Okay, so I'm going to center that in the hoop. And do you see how I'm just moving my fingers to get that stuck in the hoop? I know that part isn't hooped, but look, I'm holding it up and it's stuck in the hoop. It's not going anywhere. Oh, no. Because this is keeping it in place. Right? All right. So then I've got my design on the machine, and you're getting a little sneak peek of our design. And I'm going to say, go. This is your favorite part, right? Because you get to press the buttons. This is going to tell us now on the machine screen, do we have everything set up correctly? No, you can see right here. We've got our hoop selected. I'm not going to color merge or anything because the design's already done. I'm not going to baste around my design. However, you could. If you have done your spray basting and you want to make sure that this really isn't going to go anywhere, you can select your baste in the hoop function. And that's to baste your fabric in the hoop, making sure it doesn't slip out of place during embroidery. Now, I have a very good, I have a very secure hold, so I'm not going to do that. All right, we're going to say continue, and it's going to move, so look out. All right, now what does it say? Attach. What word is that? No? Sound it out.
Hoop.
Hoop. Attach the hoop. All right. See, we're getting a reading lesson in here as well as a sewing lesson. I love it. All right. So we're going to attach our hoop and make sure. Honey, can you grab that other one that's right there? Do you see how it has a design on it? Nope, right there. Yep. Now, I already did a test stitch out of this, and I needed to tweak the design a little bit. So I have the placement perfect, though. So I'm going to stick that in there and make sure that I've got enough room to groove. And if you need to pick up and move your fabric, you can. That's the beauty of the KK2000. All right. So secure it up in there. I just need this as a placement aid. And I'm going to say, yep, our hoop is attached. Now, the one thing I also noticed is that the correct colors did not translate when I saved this design into the format that I needed for my machine. So always print out your color chart or pull it up on your tablet or make sure that you have consulted your color chart to make sure that the colors that you have chosen or the colors that the designer has chosen are actually populating on your screen. Because right now it's telling me to start with a gray color, but I'm actually going to start with this pretty teal blue color. All right, so I need my arm for just a second. Loving you lots. All right, we will go ahead and thread the machine with the first color. All right. And you want to press the button? Yeah. Okay. Can you press the needle thread? Yeah. Yep, but hold on, we don't want to start quite. Hold on. Okay. Go ahead. Press start. Okay. Now this is going to get really loud while it is sewing out. So I'm going to go to my sewing machine camera, and if you have questions, put them in the comments, and I'll start answering them when this color is finished sewing out. Hold on, you cannot. Not right now. See how it's done out with the design? We got to stop our machine. Oh, no. All right. Now, what happened here, let me go back to this camera. All right. We've got to get troubleshooting here. So what happened was our thread went to go tie off, and it pulled on the fabric, and it actually tore away some of that stabilizer because it got caught. Now, this is one of the great reasons why you never walk away from your machine while it is sewing out the design. Because if I were away or not paying attention, this could have screwed up the entire stitch out. And if I didn't have enough fabric to do another one, I mean, this could be disastrous. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to take my terry and I'm going to create a little bit of, oops, I'm sorry, a little bit of patch to go underneath that area that got pulled out. And I'm going to err on the side of caution and create kind of a bigger than needed patch for that area. And it's so small in here. You're doing great. Okay. And what I'm going to do is spray this with a little bit more of the KK2000. And I'm going to just float it underneath the hoop while everything is still in place. Okay? You may have to do some finagling. I'm actually going to take it off the hoop, float it under here. Yes, well, it's got to work out. All right, there we go. And put the hoop back in the machine. And then we will continue sewing. I'm just going to make sure that I'm threaded properly here after that little snap. Okay, you're up. Thread the needle. Perfect. And start. All right, good job. So hopefully you can hear me over the loud machine. Right now, it's just going to come out the second part of the little words that are in the design. And then I'm going to get some more color work, and that part of the design goes much, much quicker. I know it isn't the most fascinating thing to watch machines go out of design, but actually, I find people just, if I'm at a show or something like that, and I'm debuting a new thread, or I'm debuting just a technique on the embroidery machine, people stop and stare and want to see the machine in action. Because, let's face it, machine embroidery is more fun. Am I right? Yes. And kids love the start button, kids love looking at the screen. Sometimes I will take the module off and I'm going to go on the screen and enlarge the design, change designs, move things around in design, and just have fun with it and be really involved in the designing part of the process. So. She just said also, this is really all right, so this part of the design, this color has finished. And you'll see that we don't have a lot of jump stitches in this design. The jump stitch is when, let's say, in this case, we've got letters spelling a word more. I will try to show you on my other camera here so you can see better. Maybe I can get it in there. So we've got some letters that are joined together. They're kind of cursive little hand-done letters. Now, in order to hop from one letter to the next, the machine kind of stops and sets the stitch and then jumps over to the next letter. That's called a jump stitch. So it leaves a little thread tail from the end of one letter to the start of the next. So before we move forward, we're going to just trim those little jump threads so that they don't get in the way of any other stitching. I do this after every color change, unless in the instructions of the design it tells me not to. That could be for any number of reasons. Maybe it needs to stay underlay stitching or something like that, or maybe you don't need to because it's going to be covered up in an extra round of stitching. But for something like this, I'm going to go in with my small little trusty little snips, and I'm going to trim those jump stitches right in the hoop. If you're able to keep everything hooped and trim those, I would just leave it in the. And then sometimes I will do on the back side as well if I am stitching a design that is going to be seen from the back side. Because then as you add colors and more elements of the design, your jump stitches are getting caught on each other and it makes it just way easier to finish off the design without having to go in on the wrong side and trim all those jump stitches together. Yes, honey? Did you have a question?
Yeah. You need to trim that.
I do need to trim that up. This was a test sew out, so I didn't really trim those, but I'll take care of that for you. There you go. All right, so I am going to, it's really dark on my second camera, so I'm just going to go to this view. It's telling me I need to change the thread. So you want to make sure that your presser foot is up. Now, my machine will automatically raise the presser foot after each color conveniently. So make sure your presser foot is up always when you're changing out colors. Now, I also want to make sure everybody knows about this tip, Emma. Sulky thread, this is polydeco that I'm using. Polydeco is a 40 weight poly thread, great embroidery, comes in an array of colors just like 40 weight rayon. Sulky thread spools have what's called snap ends. Okay, thank you for checking that. On the ends, let me see if I can actually show you closer even on my dark camera. On the ends, we've got these pop-up ends, okay, that they snap up and down. It's easier for me to show you here. See how they snap up and down? So you open it up, you put your thread end inside of that little groove and pop it down. And now we don't have our thread ends tangling, getting caught, you know, flying off of our shelf or drawer or slimline container box. It's just a nice and contained area. So I'm amazed that there are still some people that think this is revolutionary. So I want to take the opportunity when I can to show you the snap end spool. All right, so do you see our thread color is this golden rod? You see that? Emma's trimming all the jump stitches from the back side of my test stitch out. It's nice to have colors. All right, I'm going to thread my next color, and I probably won't take you through this entire design just because it is very loud and it's hard to talk over it. So I will just take you through the next thread color, and we just press start. And you can see machine embroidery, honestly, a lot of people think it's very hard or difficult, or you have to be an advanced sewer to be able to do machine embroidery. And really, I got caught again, so I'm just making sure we're good. Okay. Really, you don't have to be an advanced sewer at all. You just need to learn the fundamentals and have the right tools to get machine embroidery. See if I can show everything. We'll show them what's sewing out here. I'm showing them the stitch out, hopefully.
What's that?
All right, so that was our next thread color. And let me go ahead and make that. So after our next thread color, you can see this, the rest of the design has come together relatively quickly. And I'm much happier with this stitch out, with the digitizing of this particular design. My previous test stitch out, I had straight stitches outlining the text, and it was really hard to read. So I changed all that to satin stitching, and now it's coming out just beautifully. So I actually digitized this design from an embroiderer who works with us a lot. Her name is Stephanie, and her company is SEW-CIAL, and she's done a bunch of cute projects. She loves using sulky thread for hand embroidery, sulky 12 by cotton teeth. And so I basically took her handwork design and digitized it for machine embroidery. So this is a huge, huge sneak peek that I've given you guys into a project that we will be debuting in the next month or so. So I just thought, you know, we all deserve a sneak peek. We all deserve something special today and for the next however long that we are at home sewing and getting projects done. How are you doing? Great. That looks wonderful. So again, you know, when you're teaching your kids to sew, like for example, I am not worried that Emma's using my scissors right now because she knows they have sharp points. She knows how to handle them, and she's doing a great job. So, you know, going over with your kids the fundamentals of sewing when you have this time, showing them how fun and easy it is to do machine embroidery. It's a great thing to do when your kids are stuck at home for these next couple of weeks. So that is what I'm working on now. And as soon as I'm done with this, I'm going to be doing about 4 more test stitch outs for the same project. Then I'm going to get my girls on the sewing machine to do their doll outfits. But for now, I may have to go get a math tutorial started. What do you think? Yeah, this one likes math. So thank you so much for joining me, you guys, and let me know what you're sewing. You know, if you've got time off, or if you're juggling working from home and sewing from home and homeschooling and all that fun stuff. You know, like I said earlier, we're in it together, and you know, I'm here for you to answer your questions about sewing. If you are in the middle of a project, you can always email us at info@sulky.com, and if you want to through anything that you can help with. We are here to teach you, to have fun, to make sure that your sewing endeavors are fun and easy. And you know, while you are at home, maybe looking for some project tutorials, some things to do with your scraps, some crafts to do with your kids. Also, look into our online education opportunities that we have on our website. I'll put a link to those in the comments. But take a look at all of our online education offerings. We've got courses that are starting up. We've got on-demand webinars. We have another live webinar happening in the beginning of April that you can register for right now. That webinar is with Desiree's Designs, and Desiree has designed a very, very special quilt for us to make together. I will get into that more next week on Sew What, but you can prepare by registering today and securing your spot. You know, online education, watching sewing tutorials while you're at home to further your skills and to really occupy your mind and put your scraps and your fabric stash to good use. So take a look at those resources and keep on sewing on, everybody. And we'll see you next time.